Hey there, I'm Mono, and once again, it's time for some science. If you've been following this channel, you might be aware that I was going to release a video on resolve gain, mainly focusing on the fact that both melee resolve and ranged resolve did absolutely nothing. But thankfully, that is no longer the case, or is it? In this video, I will test whether or not these resolve gain issues have been fixed, and after that I will take a look at 3 quick and easy tests, some of which were requested in the comment section from the previous video. First, is Heavenly Strike affected by ult damage? Then, are bombs considered ghost weapons? And if so, will they deal more damage when using the damage increase modifier? And lastly, a deeper look at Way of the Flame, one of my favorite perks in the game, with a variety of different tests. So if you want to find out if there's a way to reduce its cooldown or deal more damage with it, stick around. If you have any ideas or suggestions for more testing, then please leave a comment below or catch me on one of my live streams. I stream every Monday and Friday right here on YouTube and play a wide variety of different games, both on PC and console. So if you're into that, then drop by and say hi. Okay, time to break out the microscope and take a look at resolve and whether or not it's been fixed. As always with these tests, I'm using the same level items on the same enemies, just switching up the properties or modifiers on those items without affecting key level. First off, melee resolve. In order to test this, I loaded up Blood in the Snow on Gold Survival, since you spawn really close to one of those regular enemy types, which makes testing faster and easier. So let's take a look at how much resolve you gain when you have absolutely no resolve modifiers equipped. So that's the base amount of resolve you will gain from a melee combo. Now let's take a look at the same combo but using plus 19% melee resolve gain. So let's take a closer look using a screenshot. This is with no melee resolve, and this is the plus 19% one. You see that? Yes, I didn't get this wrong. I've tried this several times, and melee resolve seems to actually decrease the amount of resolve you gain in, some way. But hold on to your antlers, because that is not all. Here's the same combo, but using only 9% melee resolve gain. Yes, even less resolve. So actually, it seems like having melee resolve decreases the amount of resolve you get, but if you have a lot of it, then it evens out and gives you the same amount as not having that modifier at all. So this is definitely not fixed. I've seen a Reddit user, whose name I will not pronounce, claim that he's had it work as intended and he's done some different type of testing. So maybe there is more to this, but as far as I know and as far as I've tested it, I would not recommend using this stat in any build, because even in his tests, the difference, the amount of gain that he got is absolutely minimal. So that's melee resolve, but there's also a generic brand of resolve gain that should affect everything. So here's the same test with plus 10% resolve gain. Once again, you get less resolve, so it seems melee resolve is just completely broken. Now let's take a look at ranged resolve. To test this, I killed 2 basic enemies using 4 shots total, but since resolve seems to linger for some time when you gain it, I waited until the glowy resolve was fully dissipated before firing each shot. Here's the test with no ranged resolve gain. And this is with plus 10% ranged resolve. Very clear difference here, and quite more resolve is being gained. The funny thing is, when using the same amount of generic resolve, you get less. So clearly there's still some issues with resolve gain in general that might or might not get fixed again. As it stands at this point, the generic resolve gain, which applies to everything, does work, but might actually have a negative effect on melee resolve. So if you're going for a hybrid style of gameplay where you'll be using stealth, ranged attacks, and melee attacks, I think it might help, considering it will affect other stats like injured resolve. However, ranged resolve seems to be the only thing working as intended, so if you like the Hunter, you're in luck. Hopefully, this will get patched again at some point. Now let's move on to a completely different test. Is Hachiman affected by the ult damage modifier? Well, no it isn't. Here's a strike on this big dude, and here's the same hit with plus 20% ultimate damage. Absolutely no difference. So that was quick and easy. Now let's move on to another quick test. Will increasing the damage on ghost weapons result in your bomb pack dealing more damage? Well, let's check it out. Here's a bomb with no bonus, and this is with plus 20% more damage. So there is an increase in damage, meaning that bombs are in fact affected by your ghost weapon damage modifier, which goes to show just how good that Ronin technique really is. And lastly, let's take a look at Way of the Flame. Should you be using fire damage to deal more fire damage with it? Will ability cooldown reduction have any effect on it? Well, let's find out. For this one, I will hit enemies just once to check how much damage I'm dealing with a single strike. Here we go. Way of the Flame with no fire or ghost weapon modifiers. Damage is almost exactly 1 bar, which should make testing things very easy. And here's how much damage you deal with plus 16% ghost weapon damage. Yes, it is dealing more damage and a pretty significant difference, so having the damage increase modifier is something that you might want to consider when using Way of the Flame. But what about dealing more fire damage with it? Well, when I tested this with plus 25% more fire damage from Fire Master, there is a tiny little difference, but it seems like the amount of time enemies are lit up by Way of the Flame is extremely short, so increasing fire damage is way less effective than increasing ghost weapon damage. And lastly, and I will spare you the footage for this, but Way of the Flame has a 45-second cooldown, which seems to be completely fixed and nothing seems to be able to reduce it. Okay guys, given the amount of time that I've wasted making and then scrapping an entire video thanks to this Resolve update, that will be all for now. Stick around because I'm going to try out some interesting stuff with the Hunter next time and maybe with the Samurai as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like or leave a comment down below, and as always, thank you for watching and I hope I will catch you in the next one.